Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Day. I get so many requests to make these videos, so I'm back today with another one, which by the way, I'm not sure everybody knows this, but if you like my food videos, just so you know, in pretty much all of my day in my life videos and my week in my life videos, I have sometimes like super large portions of the video are recipes and me cooking. And last but not least, be sure to check my info box because like I tend to do in almost all my videos, I am doing a giveaway in today's video. So with that being said, let's hop right in. So quick random fact, Dan actually saw a coyote coming down this hall near Ugly Mugs in Nashville like a week or two ago. So I thought I'd show you that. So we are starting off this video at our favorite coffee shop called Ugly Mugs in East Nashville. Dan loves their coffee and I really like their mango green iced tea. I haven't been drinking it very much since being pregnant, not only because it didn't sound as good, but I've obviously drastically cut my caffeine intake. But on this day, I was having a pregnant lady day where like I needed to get out of the house and I wanted to pick up a couple of things. And one of those things was this tea. I was craving it. So we stopped by and picked it up. It's also one of my favorite pastimes, semi-embarrassing Dan in public like this. Although I don't feel like it's very easy to embarrass Dan in general. So now it's funny because since this day, we've had a definite switch to fall. It was still super warm on this day. Actually, it was pretty hot this week. We had some like record high temperatures here in Nashville, but as of like the last 24 hours, it's gotten so much colder here. So that's kind of a side note. But on this morning, like I said, I was having a pregnant lady morning and I was craving bagels. So I not only wanted my tea, but I wanted some bagels. And so we took the time to enjoy the weather, enjoy the drive, and Dan took me over to a place called Proper Bagels. Now, if you live in Nashville, I would love more suggestions for bagel places because don't get me wrong, I really like Proper Bagel, but it's like kind of far from me. And so when I go, I tend to order like a dozen bagels and then the bagel that I want. Although I've only done that, I'm saying tend to, I've done that like 2 or 3 times in the last 2 years of living here, but that's what I've done. But I would love it if you guys could just suggest bagel places in Nashville. So I'm a big everything bagel fan. So those are all the bagels that I got are just a bunch of everything bagels. And then I did end up getting a gluten-free donut here just because it looked so good. I am not a donut person, guys, but I have actually craved donuts a couple of times since being pregnant, and this was one of those days. By the way, the first time I went to Proper Bagel to pick up the dozen bagels, I also got a couple of their sides, and their sides are really yummy and fresh tasting. So I just thought I would throw that out there. Dan had gone up the street to get gas, so there I am casually walking to the gas station. Oh, good.
What are you looking for?
Got it. Hand sanitizer, because I'm about to dig in. So, always gotta have a hand sanitizer. I have my tea, and I like to call this a breakfast of champions that I probably shouldn't be eating. It's just an everything bagel.
Oh, soaked in butter?
Yeah, double toasted.
Cook it up, dude.
Speaking of this being Carb Day 2019, we also stopped while we were out at a place called Milk and Honey to pick up their house-made sourdough because we do the same thing. We buy their sourdough in larger amounts and then we freeze it. Fast forward, I wanted a salad for lunch on this day. So I made my way to my tower garden, which this crop has kind of been a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie, my last 2 crops have kind of been a disappointment. I think it's partially because I haven't been killing the gardening game, but I'm really hoping it's not because, like, I don't know, have I ruined part of the equipment? Like maybe my seeds are getting bad. I'm not sure. It's still edible and good and fresh. Don't get me wrong. Like yeah, you can see by looking at it, it's still really good. But I haven't harvested as much greens from this crop as I would have liked to have harvested, like as I know it's capable of. So I brought down all of my greens and I pulled out this can of Wild Planet albacore tuna, and then I scooped that into my bowl, and then I cut up this white sweet Vidalia onion and added a little bit of the diced onion to the mix. Then I took a scoop of this soy-free Vegenaise and added that into the tuna as well. I also decided to add a scoop of this garlic aioli I had made the night before for some sweet potato fries, and I scooped that in. And then, of course, I had to juice a ton of lemon because the more lemon, the better. Then I decided to chop up an apple and add that to the mix. I will change up what kind of like little additions I do in my tuna. Sometimes it's celery, sometimes it's pickles, sometimes it's both. It's kind of just whatever I have on hand. Then I took a jalapeno and I chopped that up and added that as well. Then I added a little bit of black pepper and some pink Himalayan salt, which, by the way, one of you guys were telling me that your boyfriend makes fun of me because I keep calling it pink Himalayan sea salt. And that's not what this is. So thanks for the correction. It's just pink Himalayan salt. We all know that I just blabber and I don't pay the most attention to details all the time. Bless my heart. So then I took all of my greens that I had harvested from my tower garden, which was a mix of a couple of different kinds of lettuce, some chives, some cilantro, and I think a little bit of parsley, and I just chopped it all up, mixed it all together, and threw it back in my bowl. Then I took some cherry tomatoes that I had, and I chopped those up for the salad as well. Then I took a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, drizzled that on top. I also added a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and then I scooped my tuna on top. So I also decided I wanted an orange because I love oranges. You guys know that. I've really been loving oranges though lately. And that was my lunch. Oh, it was so good. Like, even though I was dissing my recent tower garden crop, every time I eat produce from it, I'm in awe of how different fresh picked produce tastes to the produce at the store. And that's why goals, hopefully one day we can grow a lot more of our own produce. Okay, so later in the afternoon, after I'd been editing for a little while and just doing random things, I decided to pull out my gluten-free donut. Guys, I feel like this is kind of just a junk food day, but it was so good. And I also had some tea left over from that morning. It takes me so long to drink it that usually I end up adding more ice and water, and so that one drink lasts me like half the day because I just keep filling it back up. Anyways, all of that was really good. So now we're gonna fast forward to dinner. And this dinner, let me tell you, while it is also full of carbs, it's delicious. So Dan sliced up some Brussels sprouts that we had on hand. We had like an excessive amount of Brussels sprouts. And I often am cooking in a way where I'm kind of just going through my fridge and looking at all of the produce and veggies we have and trying to think of like how to use them, process them, store them, whatever, before they go bad. So I am not professional enough yet in life to where I like plan my meals ahead of time. I tend to just buy produce that I like, and then when I'm home, I make recipes around what I have and what I want to make. I'm very much someone that likes to have variety. I might not seem that way in my videos. You might be like, Nikki, you have no variety. But I mean, I'm not one of those people that can have like the same meal, like, oh, I prepared a bunch of it, so that's gonna be my meal like all week. I can't do that. That was kind of a rant, but side note, when we do our freezer cooking to prep for when the baby comes, we're planning on storing our food in individual sized containers so that we don't have to do that, like thaw one giant mixture of something and then eat that for 4 days. once I got all of my veggies chopped up, here they were. Look at them, looking so beautiful. And then I put some Kerrygold butter into a pan and I threw all of my veggies into the mix. From there, I just kind of tossed them, making sure that I kind of distributed the butter over all of the veggies. By the way, this video is coming up soon, but we just planted garlic outside, like in our fall garden. And did you know that garlic takes 9 months to grow? So we're really working towards the future, guys, of our own garlic, which may or may not work. So hashtag pray for the Philippis and their garlic garden. So a lot of times when I cook, it's kind of just a hodgepodge of stuff that I think sounds good. And as this was cooking and I was smelling it, I thought a little bit of balsamic added into the veggies sounded good as well. So I threw that in there too. Now, goals is to one day be making and canning my own pasta sauce, but I'm not there yet, and this is super convenient. And yeah, I can't say that I love this pasta sauce, but I do like that the ingredients are very simple. They're not like adding sugar and all of these other junky things that I don't feel like I need in my pasta sauce personally. So yeah. So I have been trying to make sure that I'm getting enough animal protein in during my pregnancy. And so Dan cooked up some organic ground beef that he picked up from Costco in a pan to throw in the lasagna as well. And then while he was doing that, I pulled out these sun-dried tomatoes that I also got from Costco, and I chopped those up. And then for this lasagna, we wanted to use this mozzarella that we picked up from Costco as well. This video is not sponsored by Costco, but honestly, if Costco was giving out sponsorships, I would be banging on their door to get one. So just say it. Then once my sauce, meat, veggie mixture was all cooked up, it was time to construct the lasagna, everybody. Here we go. We did add some more sauce because I felt like it wasn't saucy enough, which might seem weird, but I felt like it was too much, mostly just veggies and meat. So we added more sauce. I like my lasagna to be pretty soupy, and I want the noodles to be really wet. So that was the other reason that we added sauce. I feel like I'm over explaining this like sauce thing. You could have just watched this, but there you go. So side note, the other cool thing about this mozzarella is even though it's fresh mozzarella, they've actually like pre-cut into little slices. They're actually like, it's pretty thick slices, but it's kind of nice when you're pulling it out to lay on the lasagna that they're already like cut up. So once the lasagna was constructed, Dan took some aluminum foil in a very detail-oriented way. Like I would have just slapped this stuff on, but he made sure that aluminum foil was secure, very secure. And then we threw it in the oven, I think at like 400 degrees-ish. And I find that like lasagna is kind of like everything else, really, depending on where you live in your oven. It's not really a science for how long it needs to be cooked. So I just like set the timer and then check it. So I think after like 30 minutes, I stuck my fork in the center and, you know, if it goes through easily, it's done. If it's still hard and the noodles are crunchy, not done. So once it was done cooking, we scooped ourselves some lasagna. And then I ran upstairs to pull some fresh basil from the tower garden, which, like I said, I'm disappointed kind of in the way that the whole tower is growing, but also this basil. The basil that grows off the tower garden is so good. I mean, it's fresh basil, it's delicious. So I sprinkled some fresh basil on the top of each of our dishes, and then that was our dinner, and it was so good. And I ended up freezing a couple of slices for like later in the week. And we also had some the next night for dinner. And I didn't get this on camera in a total gear switch, but these almond oat chocolate chip cookie bars are so good. I made them over the summer. I will link the recipe down below. I love them. And the way that I did this last batch was I baked them and then I froze the rest, and they're so good out of the freezer. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So, all right, guys, that is it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you missed any of my last videos, there they are. You get a little sneak peek. Also, to those of you that didn't know this, I am on Patreon now. Patreon is a site where you can upload exclusive, like bonus content, which is what I am doing. So if you want to see more videos from me, they've pretty much all been like my chattier videos. I will link that in the info box as well. And as of now, you can support me over there for as little as $1 a month. Some people have been giving me like $3 and $5 a month, and I appreciate every single dollar. Your support means so much, and I will hopefully see you guys back here very soon with another new video. All right, bye guys.